Well, everybody should have found that number 1A was an easy problem to solve. But I want to walk through it with everybody anyway. So you were told to solve this equation for t. This is a one-step equation where what we will do is to get rid of this 3, this coefficient of t, by dividing both sides by 3. And since the 3's cancel, we're left with 1t, or just t, is equal to 24 divided by 3 is 8. So there's our solution. To check the solution, we would go back and check whether 3 times t, which is 8, is equal to 24. And so yes, when we're doing our check, 3 times 8 equal to 24. So that checked. So part B should have been a little more challenging because we've never done anything like this before. It says to rewrite this equation so that the variable t is isolated. So we want the variable t to be all by itself. So for just now, I'm going to make the t a different color. So this is the variable t that I want to be isolated. So with a little bit of thought, we can think about the fact that if I want t isolated, I'd like to get rid of the p. Since pt represents p times t, I can get rid of that p by dividing. So I'm dividing by the coefficient of t. Remember when we learned that vocabulary and it just seemed like something that we practiced and let stay there? Well, now we really have to think about, well, the coefficient is the thing that we're trying to cancel and get rid of. So if I do this on one side of the equation, I need to do this on the other side as well. So my result on this side is t, and it's isolated. And so my answer that I was looking for is this. So congratulations if you got that all on your own. If not, think about how you solve with numbers and see if you can mimic that, kind of copy that when you're working with letters. Now part C goes on to do even more challenging things. It says to verify your result, you need to obtain a value for t. Starting with your result. So we're starting with this result here. Choose values other than 0, 1, and 2 for p and k. So I'm going to let p be equal to 4 and k be equal to 5. One hint, when p's in the denominator, it's better to pick numbers like 4 and 5 than it is to pick numbers like 3 or 7, which make awkward denominators with awkward fractions and decimals. All right, after I do this, it says substitute these into your result and evaluate to obtain a value for t. So we're putting the k in as 5 and the p in as 4. 5 divided by 4 is 1.25. Now that doesn't finish the check. All that tells me is here's a number I can use for t. When I solve equations like on part A, I already have a number. So we have to pick values for these letters k and p, use them in our answer to find a value for t, and then go back to the original equation, which was pt equals k. So we're going to put p for times t, 1.25, and see if that gives us k, which is 5. Great. Since 5 equals 5, we have that this checks. Now that's quite a few steps to get to the answer. Normally, I don't write this copying the answer over again, so normally I would not write that step. Also, I would not copy the original problem over again. But there still is quite a bit of steps to pick values, put this into the answer to get a value for t, and then go up to the original and plug it in. If you were to just make up a number for t, this process will not work. You have to use your answer to come up with the answer for t. All right, having gone through all of that, I want you now to go back to the directions, or I'll just tell you what to do next, and that is I want you to do problem number 2 on page 217. And then we'll look at the answers to that when you're done.